Back everybody. In this Python video we're going to be learning about lists and loops. So the first thing is going to be lists. We learned how you can store a single chunk of data inside of a variable, but you can also store data in groups, and this is going to be called a list. And the best way to illustrate a list is through an example. So say I have a class of maybe 4 students. I wouldn't take each of those students and store them in an individual variable. I certainly can do that, but it will be very inefficient in the long run. Instead, let's store them all together in a list called names. We first give the list a name, like any other variable, and we create a list by using brackets. And inside the brackets goes all of the data that we want to include, separated by commas. So let's say Jack, John, Mary, Jill. Let's say these are the names of students in our class. These names are now all stored inside of a list. They're all stored together, and they can all be also accessed individually. In programming, we don't start counting from the number 1. So it doesn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, but rather it actually starts counting from 0. So Jack would be number 0, John would be 1, Mary would be 2, and Jill would be 3. So when I'm referring to the first element in a list, I'm actually referring to the 0th element. And when I'm referring to the second element, I'm referring to the first element, and so on and so forth. So we can also, like I said, access these elements individually. So if I wanted the first element in my list, and let's say I want to print it out, let's say names, which is the name of the list, and the element that I want, 0. If I print name 0, I will get Jack, just like that. If I print names 3, that'll be the last element in the list. I get Jill. And with indexes, these are called indexes, by the way. A list has indexes, 0, 1, 2, and 3. If I wanted to get the last element, I can also use another trick in Python and type -1. What that does is it goes from 0, goes all the way back around to -1, which is the last element. So you'll see I will also get Jill by doing this. Also, a good way to remember how indexes work is the maximum index in a list is going to be len of the list. And what len does is this function will return the amount of elements in the list, so it'll be 4, minus 1, and that'll be 3. So if I print this, this is going to be the maximum index of our list, which is 3. It's always going to be 1 less than the total length of the list. And we can also get slices of a list, which are like mini sublists created from the total list. Say I wanted only the first 2 elements. Well, we would say, first of all, yes, you can print a list. So if I print names, we will get the whole list. Say I only wanted the first half of the list. I would go from 0, then you use a colon. So 0 is the starting point, and then we need to go to the ending point, which isn't going to be 1, it's actually going to be 2, because we don't include the last number, we just go up to but not including. So this will print out Jack and John. And actually, if you want to start from the beginning of the list, you don't have to include the first number. If you leave it blank, it will just assume you want to start at the beginning. Similarly, if you leave both blank, it'll just assume you want the whole list. Also, we can start from 2, or rather 1, and go to the end. If we leave the second element blank, it'll just assume we want to go to the end. And then, let's say we use our original example, 0 to 2. You can also skip by a certain amount. Say I only want every other element, or rather say I want the whole list, but only every other element. So we would put 2 here. By default it's 1, but we can put 2 here. And we'll only get Jack and Mary. So that's called list indexing and list slicing. And this will become more important when you're dealing with large amounts of data and you need to be able to handle it efficiently. And that brings us to the next topic, which is the for loop. A loop repeats the same code over and over again. A loop is for doing a very large amount of tasks very quickly, if all of those tasks share something in common. In other words, if you can simplify it into a repeating process. So there are two main types of loops. That's going to be the for loop and the while loop. A for loop takes a list and loops, it iterates, we call this iterating, it goes around one time for each element in the list. We create a for loop using the word for, then we need a looping variable. And I is usually the standard looping variable, you can call it anything you want. What this variable will do is it will take on the value of the current element of the list. So we say for I in, and then you provide some list here. By default, we usually provide a list of numbers so that the loop runs a set number of times. And the way you do that is by using the range function. Say I put range 50. What range 50 does is it generates a list of numbers from 0 to 49, so not including the last number. It generates a list of numbers starting from 0 and going up to 49. So this loop will run 50 times. And each time the loop runs, I will be the current number. So the first time the loop runs, I will be 0. The second time the loop runs, I will be 1. And then the last time the loop runs, all the way up to the last time, I will be 49. So each time the loop runs, I goes up by one number. It goes to the next element in the list. And the range function takes other parameters as well. If I want to start from 1 and go to 50, I would go 151. This will do every number from 1 to 50. So the loop will instead, when the loop starts, I will have the value of 1, and when the loop ends, I will have the value of 50. You can also skip numbers. If I put 3 here, it'll go from 1, it'll add 3 each time. So every time the loop runs, I will go 1, 4, 7, so on and so forth. So if I say print I, what's going to happen is this loop is going to run this many times. Let's simplify it without having the skip parameter in there. The loop will run 50 times, 1 to 50, and every time the loop runs, it'll print the current number. So if I run this, we'll get every single number from 1 up until 50. And obviously, if I skip by 3, we'll get every number from 1 to 50, skipping by 3. So we go 1, 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, so on and so forth. That's how a for loop works. And you don't have to just use the range function to provide a list of numbers. You can also use a list that you already have. So for instance, let's use our names list. Or rather, we can make a new list, maybe of locations. And this is just for demonstration purposes. This is random. Let's just say these are some cool locations in the world that you can visit. Since I'm saying for I in range 151, where I will take on the value of the current number in the list, we can say for I in locations, print I. Now what this will do is the loop will run one time for every element in the list, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. It'll run 4 times. Each time I will go to the next element. So if I run this, it'll print out each element in the list one by one. So that's how the for loop works. It takes a list and iterates through each element of the list. The looping variable that you create, now it doesn't have to be called I, it can actually, logically, it can be called location. So like for location in locations, print location. Every time we go through the list, location will be the current one that we're on. So we'll start with New York, then go to Paris, then go to Cairo, then go to London. So that is how the for loop works. Next is the while loop, and the while loop uses booleans. Basically, a while loop continues to run as long as the condition inside of it is true. So, if I say x equals 0, while x is less than 20, we're saying as long as the x variable has a value that is less than 20, so right now it's true, x plus equals 1. So increase the value of x by 1 and print it. So as long as the value of x is less than 20, this loop will continue to run, and every time the loop runs, we increase the value of x by 1 and print the value of x. So you see, it goes 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 20. Because on the 20th turn of the loop, it finishes doing what it's doing, it adds 1 to x, prints it out, and then the loop no longer runs again because the condition has become false. If I print x before adding 1 to x, that's also doable. You'll see that it'll go from 0 to 19 because we're adding 1 after printing it. So by the time we're able to print 20, the condition has already been broken. This is how a while loop works. So as a fun exercise, we can create a coin flipping simulator using the while loop. Let's say, and for this we're actually going to need some new concepts. So I'm going to do what's called import to modules. We're going to import the random module. Actually, we should only need random. We don't need math. Random contains some functions that we can use, most importantly random.randint, which will generate a random number between two bounds, which is inclusive. So let's create a while loop that runs until we get 30 heads from our coin flip. So heads equals 0, and total flips equals 0. While heads is less than, 30, now we have to say our flip is going to be a random number between 1 and 2. Now we're going to use our handy if statement. If the flip is 1, we've gotten the heads. If it's not, we actually don't have to do anything. We don't need an else statement here. Regardless, though, every time the coin is flipped, we have to add 1 to the total flips. So what this is essentially doing is saying until we get 30 heads, keep flipping the coin. Every time you flip the coin, add 1 to the total number of flips, but only add 1 to heads if, well, flip is 1, because it's a random number, either 1 or 2. Then we can actually print out total flips and see how many flips it takes to get 30 heads. It takes 60. That's actually a perfect run. It means that we got exactly half of our flips were heads. It took exactly 60 flips to get 30 heads. And if we run this a couple times, we're not going to get a perfect number every time. That was actually very lucky. So that is a simple use of the while loop, and next time I see you guys, we'll pick up with classes and objects.